Well, I definitely remembered all the cameras. It was an amazing show last time. We had a really good time, and I think my biggest memory, at least, was this backstage, this whole feeling of being on a boat, being inside a James Bond movie.
Yeah. no, but actually, it's one of my favorite shows that we've done in Europe, the last one, because it's very special being on a boat, and everything is like good sound, good lights. It's very, very professional here. So yeah.
I mean, we start out in something that's supposed to be hip-hop-ish, I guess, with the beats and the rap and the horns. But then I don't think we try not to put ourselves in a box. We try to be open to whatever comes around that inspires us, and whatever comes out from that is what we do.
It's like psychedelic jazz, hip-hop, energetic.
Yeah, something like that. Oh, well, I mean, our first album was very inspired by the 30s and 40s swing music. At least a lot of songs from there. I don't know if that would be our, like, for me, myself, when I listen to jazz, I'm probably listening to more 50s, 60s of the, like, modal or avant-garde jazz music. I like the present genre as well. There's a lot of good things going on in the jazz scene right now.
I only listen to Django. That's all.
Sweden is probably the third biggest music exporting country in the world, and that's not even like for per capita. It's just I don't know why it is like that. We've been thinking about that, and I think one of the things is that we have very good music schools starting from an early age. It's very cheap to learn an instrument, to get music lessons in Sweden. We have the big advantage of being very far up north.
Yeah. It's very dark in the winter, so it's like there's nothing to do except getting a studio and exactly. Do stuff. But I don't know, it's like I feel like right now, since it's pretty much out there, the scene in Sweden is very like competitive and like very good. So it's like it's
frontline.
Yeah.
Everyone gets inspired by other people, and you know you want to make music that's better and more interesting than your friends and stuff like that. So, that's also interesting because I think, in a way, that Sweden is very frontline when it comes to software development, and not only in music but also in like the gaming industry and like computer in general. And I think one of the reasons is that the government took an initiative maybe 20 years back that made it very easy and cheap for government employed people to buy computers, personal computers. It was for not that much money, so it was very common for people growing up, at least in like our generation, to have a computer at home and to start working with computer programs and stuff like that. So I think that's probably one of the reasons that the Swedish software and computer industry is very frontline.
We record live now. We use Logic just to like put it in there, and it's usually some stuff is like programmed drums, but it's always like live stuff on top of it. So we like figure out the pattern of the drumming, and then we like add everything just by recording the stuff and then tweak it at the end. So usually we start with like the kind of drums you want for a song, and then you find out the chords and all that stuff.
Yeah, so pretty much it's exactly everything is recorded on computer via microphones and sound outboards and stuff like that. But everything is pretty much live recorded with live instruments.
We have a couple of places where we like can decide for the moment where to go. It's like it could be an opening of a song. It could be like songs that are divided. It could be like endings of songs where it's like, okay, if it's a good vibe, let's do a triple solo. If it's bad, no solos at all. So it's like a mix between programmed and parts where you can choose.
Exactly. Half of the band is still up where we're from Luleå up north in Sweden. It will be approximately 1,000 kilometers north of Stockholm. Me and Johan, nowadays we live in Stockholm. I think it's mainly because that's where the music industry is centered, around that city, and everything that has to do with the tour production and stuff is based in Stockholm. So it's easier for us to have a few people living there to take care of that stuff. But we still go back. We have one studio up north, one studio in Stockholm. We go back and forth.
Well, it's maybe a bit more like digital than the last one, a bit more like vocoders and stuff, because it's like every time we do the new, you don't want to redo the last album. You want to find like a new way to go. So this is a bit more Prince influence, I guess. But at the same time, we know that it's like there's a few more like electronic additions to the songs, but at the same time, it's like we're sticking with the like main script, like a lot of high energy songs. This album actually has a couple of slow ones as well.
Yeah, we're working with a few more slow songs. We dared ourselves to actually take down the tempo a bit on a few songs, and also we have a few songs that's in the major keys instead of just the minor keys.
Exactly.
Which is new for us as well.
Which is scary.
we sound so happy.
Yeah.
Excuse me.
Swedish is our first language, and I'm way better at Swedish than I'm at English. And at the same time, since I feel it's easier to write in Swedish because it's like that's what we normally talk. Of course, we could do like a couple of songs in English, but at the same time, it's like I feel more comfortable in Swedish right now. And also, once you open it, of course, it could be a good move since we play much abroad to like do it in English. But at the same time, there's a lot of good English-speaking rappers, and then you're in the same category as them. So it's like I don't know. We'll see. But for now, it's going to be Swedish.
I have to say though that even though we sing in Swedish, we've been very fortunate to be able to play outside of Scandinavia in countries like Hungary where people have no idea what we're saying. Yeah. But we play not only in Europe, we play in the United States, in Canada, in Japan, and I mean people come out, people learn to sing along to our lyrics even though they don't understand what we're saying, and they don't understand what their self are saying when they sing along.
We don't understand what they're saying.
We definitely don't understand it. And we realize that that's something special as well, you know, and if we change that, a part of what's special with our band will be lost, I think.
Well, the first songs, but it's a lot of like social commentary, like against racism, against like poverty, I don't know, and
social injustices.
Social injustices, and some songs here is like party songs and breakup songs, and I mean
on a more personal level. Exactly.
So it's pretty political, but not like party political. It's like there's always like a commentary, but not like too much. Yeah, it's becoming more and more. It's like the racist part in Sweden is now like the third biggest, almost the second biggest, from being nothing in like 10 years back. So yeah, there's like a lot of, and I feel like all over Europe it's the same, and it's like with this immigration and all that stuff, it's like all countries are handling it in different ways, and it's very like interesting to talk about because this is going on right now. It's not something from back in the days. You know?
It's definitely that. You know, we're living in interesting times. I mean, it feels bad to say interesting times because we're talking about people that, you know, have just food for the day and nowhere to sleep and nowhere to live. But it's the stuff that's going on in Europe now is something that we definitely are affected by, and something that we feel we need to talk about in our songs, and yeah.
I think the first step would be like to have embassies at the border so people don't have to go on the boats in the first place. That would be a good start, because people dying just because of they can't find embassies, that's bullshit. But apart from that, it's like I feel this is probably one of the main things that the European Union needs to like address. Like we need to come together, and everyone needs to like help out instead of some countries taking none, some countries taking all.
The way it looks like the way it works now is also that when you don't have embassies and you're not able to apply for asylum in the country you're in, like in your home country, the countries that are bordering to, like if you have a country bordering to a country where there are a lot of refugees coming, they will take a lot of the load, and they will have to deal with the problem there, and that's not fair. You know, you have I mean, Sweden is a country that's taken on a lot of refugees. We took in like 100,000 people last year, so it's Sweden and
Germany.
that's taking the most refugees. But I mean, the problem is that, you know, all these people have to come to other countries and go through them, and the countries that are bordering are taking on a lot of pressure, and I think we need to have the European Union coming together in a better way to help each other out. Yeah. But I mean, this is us talking, you know, our minds. We're not politicians, and we don't aim to be politicians. So it's an extremely hard question, and I wish I knew the answer, because if I didn't know the answer, I'll tell them about it.
I'll tell you right now.
I'll tell you right now, but this is just sentiments.